Okay, welcome back to It's New. We got a lot exciting stuff to discuss. I'm not sure how exciting, but there's stuff going on. I'm going to be talking about Google search ranking volatility heating up, and that was a weird end, right? The AI overviews being tested in the UK, including workspace accounts. Greg?
When you say like that was weird, I mean it had a personality and like
No, it sounded a little bit Neil Youngy.
Oh,
bringing it from last show. So, Greg?
Many merchants will not be too excited about an email outlining what will be happening in Merchant Center next.
And Mordy.
Will the site reputation abuse update have an actual impact on businesses? You can bet on it.
All right, so Menachem Ani had posted some screenshots, and some merchants were getting notifications from Google about the Merchant Center Next automatic enrollment that will be beginning in July 22nd. And I didn't see this specifically, but it says that if you haven't given it a try, you're going to be automatically enrolled into that. And I've kind of just stayed away from Merchant Center Next without doing too much there. The biggest draw that Google has deemed to be part of this, upgrade is that it's simpler. It's doesn't have as many complex features within Merchant Center. Historically, those complex features are very important because you've got a feed and you're kind of always like need to wrangle the feed and before it gets in a Merchant Center and then once in there. But as we've talked through this, there's less talk of the feed and more about products and more about Google finding products and things like that. So the push is for simplicity. And then Barry, in that article, you linked over to a great article from Anu Agdambola over on Search Engine Land, where she outlined a few of the reasons why not everybody loves Merchant Center Next. The biggest kind of two things here is that there are not great feed. Well, there's not feed roles, and then supplemental feeds. So you may have to kind of rethink some things. And then Mike Ryan had also been quoted in that article and given some solutions around there. So basically, if you have like really complex feed rules and you've got different things going on in Merchant Center, there could be some issues there. But July 22nd is when that is rolling out.
It's coming up. It's next. What's with the name Merchant Center Next? What the heck is with that? It's like couldn't come up with something better.
Future.
I don't know. I think that everything is now trying to be like flashy, and then to me, whenever you hear like something that sounds really cool, I'm like, man, this is kind of going to be dumb. You're like, oh, performance max, like when it rolled out, and it's like, oh, this is like,
what do they call it next? If they call, I mean, and you can't call it like XMX. Like XMX Next is always about what's coming up in the future.
Up. Yeah,
but this is Merchant Center Next. This is the product name. So what do they do next time they update it?
I think they put 2 X's in there. I don't think you want 3. That might be a little problematic, but I think it's like 2 X's.
That's not even. You just go plus sign.
Oh, Next Plus.
Yeah.
It's like a TV subscription. I love it.
Yep.
All right. We're giving them great advice, so hopefully they'll send us some checks our ways. If not, you get hit by a site reputation abuse policy, and then your whole entire stock could tank, or maybe not. Mordy.
Well, yeah, maybe not. So this comes from a hat tip to Glenn Gabe, who first reported on this. I'm going to get the name wrong. Katina Media PLC is updating their Q2 earnings, basically saying we don't predict the same financial future for our company because of the organic search ecosystem, particularly the site reputation abuse update that is pending release. They've lowered their quarterly financials, and Barry Schwartz over at SERoundtable.com did some really deep research and found that it didn't actually impact the stock price all too much. And actually, Ori Zilberstein commented on, I believe it was on Glenn's X post, that this company already has a lot of organic visibility issues. So maybe like, what's one more thing? Who cares?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I don't have to call it deep research. I just looked at their stock chart on their website, which is not, it's like on some foreign stock market. So anyway, it's funny. I always find it interesting whenever I used to cover this stuff, like follow what like earnings transcripts say about Google or like search SEO. And they would often, whenever I found it, they would be like, oh, Google made this change and it might affect our earnings. And you follow their stock price, nothing happened. And otherwise, like if you track like using third-party tools to see how public companies' search visibility is tanking, and then you look at their stock price and earnings report over the course of several months, zero impact almost always. So I don't know. It's hard to use SEO to make a lot of money in the stock market.
So you're saying SEO isn't worth that much, Barry? Is that what you said?
SEO is dead.
Not as much as PPC, obviously.
Definitely not. Definitely not as much as PPC. Moving on to AI overviews, which is very interesting. So yesterday I saw a lot of people in the UK saying, hey, wait a second, why am I seeing AI overviews? And some of those people were actually on their workspace accounts, their Google apps or whatever you call it, where it's their custom domain name. And if you look at Google's terms, like AI overviews help documentation, they specifically say AI overviews will only work on personal Google accounts, not on workspace accounts. And I have screenshots of people showing me their AI overviews with, so James Powley has a screenshot. I asked him, just open up a little like dialogue on the right-hand side where it shows your Google account. And it shows it's a workspace account from bluearray.co.uk. And it also shows the AI overview on the left side. And they're in the UK. So one is AI overviews aren't showing up in the UK or shouldn't be because it's only out in the US. Two, it's on workspace accounts, which it shouldn't be. So I emailed Google yesterday, like yesterday afternoon, early, like maybe morning, and saying what's going on. No response. So maybe Google's going to be like launching this more broadly. We'll see.
That sounds fun.
Then, yeah, a lot of fun. But then we also saw a lot more fun with this morning. I wrote about how Google is shaking it up again. There's a lot more search ranking volatility. We spotted on July 17th and 18th. The good news is we used to have these like Google updates for the past month or so, always on the weekends, unconfirmed updates. And with the next core update coming in the coming weeks, maybe Google's evaluating stuff. I saw a lot of chatter recently. Tracking tools like advanced web rankings, SERP metrics, cognitive SEO, SEMrush, and some others are showing a significant spike in the past day or so. The other tools didn't really all update yet, so I'll check SimilarWeb and SEMrush again to see what they're showing this morning. But there is definitely a lot of chatter, and maybe we're at the cups of a new Google search ranking update, the next core update. We'll see. Who knows? So buckle up.
Yeah. SEMrush is showing a slight spike from yesterday relative to today.
Who is?
I put 3 weeks. 3 weeks until the next core update, because if this is like, before an update, there's often that wave of update that comes right before it, and it's usually like 2-3 weeks. So I'm gonna say 3 weeks. We should bet on it.
We should have a bet. We'll have it on. Cool. I'm calling it a Tish above update.
Now, Mordy, what charts do you look at to kind of see that pre-wave there? What are your go-to charts?
Any of the SEO weather tools, or you look at your own rankings and your clients' rankings, and you see, there's a change in the pattern. Like people always mistake, by the way, this is why winners and losers lists suck. And if you do a winners and losers list, I'm sorry, not the ones that like Lily Ray does. Those are kind of different. Those are like site visibility indexes, right? But the regular winners and losers, because there's usually a big wave of volatility that resets a trend like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, and the winners and losers list kind of ignore that. So a lot of like the winners are really just going back to what they were before. Like it's the same thing. It's a reversal back.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if you had to go to where you're any charts. I'm a big chart guy over here. Barry always has the most beautiful
roundtable.com, and this guy named Barry has all of the charts. So I don't use one chart. I use all of the charts.
Okay. So you're an aggregate guy. All right.
Yeah, I'm an aggregator. I'm like Albert Pujols.
And Greg, I mean, that's a question for you, Greg, because you love charts. I mean, is there any one specific one that you love the most?
I'm more into the design of the charts. I really don't care about the charts. But no, I think that, I just to back, I would say, Morty's alumnus, that maybe SEMrush is one that I enjoy looking at due to the colors.
I believe the first one was the Mozcast was the first one. I remember Dr. Pete Myers, he's like, I'm going to make this like tracking tool based on like, I used to write there's a Google update happening based on the chatter. He's like, I'm going to make something and I'm going to test it based on that and go back and forth. He went back and forth with me to say, does the chatter match his charts? And they always did generally. So I think Mozcast was the first one to do it. But then everybody else copied, which is good because now I have a lot of charts. I wanted to use some type of API to like combine all the charts into one big chart.
Let's go.
You should call it Uber chart.
Uber chart.
Let's
but I never actually did that. But one day maybe I'll get to it because they have to give me their access to their APIs to do it, which not all of them have. And then the outliers you got to pull out. And it's work, but it'd be fun. And then I can make it look like anything. I can make like our heads to be the bars, which would be crazy. Wild stuff.
Wow. Can I be volatility and Greg could be calm?
Yes, that's what I project off. I love it.
All right, we went a little bit off on this one, but everyone have a great weekend. We're hopefully back on Monday. We might be traveling a little bit, some of us, but we'll see you then. Everyone be well. Thanks so much for listening and commenting and subscribing. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.